And hello, good afternoon to you. I'm Mitch McCoy here at KRK4 and Fox 16. It is 3:43 on the clock right now. The Arkansas Storm team busy right now watching and tracking the potential for winter weather in the state of Arkansas tonight. You're looking at a live look at this would be Interstate 30 going from North Little Rock down into Little Rock. We just learned moments ago that RDOT started treating some of the bridges in the metro just as a precaution as the Arkansas Storm team monitors the potential for some of this winter weather. Let's get straight to Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin. He is in the Weather Center right now watching brand new data coming in, and I want to invite people to use the hashtag AST. You see it there at the bottom of your screen, and you can ask Jeff your weather question. So Jeff, the big question everyone has, what is the real potential here for winter weather, at least in the Little Rock metro area?
Well, Mitch, one thing that we have going for winter weather, of course, the cold temperatures. Today, with the clouds that came in just around sunrise, as temperatures dropped to the mid to upper 20s, it didn't really allow for the temperatures to warm back up with those clouds coming back in. So we've been stuck in the low 30s, many areas not even getting much above the freezing mark today. And still this afternoon, temperatures barely above freezing. So with those cold temperatures around, that's certainly going to set the stage for some winter type precipitation. But here's the question: how much do we actually get? And right now, it doesn't look like it's really going to be that much precipitation, as we have a system moving on in, but it's also weakening at the same time, or the portion of the system that's moving towards Arkansas is weakening. And that's going to mean some snow, which has been fairly substantial across parts of Oklahoma so far today, is going to weaken as it moves into Arkansas. So really what we're looking at going into the afternoon, evening hours, a couple of flurries. We had a couple of little pellets here and there, what we call a grapple. We've had a little bit of that. It's been very, very light, and you almost have to really be looking for it to even notice that it's going on at all. But you can see that area of snow across parts of Oklahoma and parts of southern Kansas. But at the same time, that area of snow has been on a weakening trend over the last few hours. We've had some rain start to increase across parts of southeast and east central Arkansas, but that is where temperatures are above freezing. And if we take a look at what temperatures are like right now across the state, coming up on 4 p.m. here, mid 30s across southeast Arkansas. So areas such as, say, Pine Bluff, Monticello, we're looking at temperatures above freezing, mainly just some rain. But across central Arkansas, where temperatures are within a degree or two of freezing, anything that we're going to get is likely going to be in the form of maybe some sleet, grapple, or some very light flurries. And these temperatures are not really going to warm up all that much as we go over the next few hours. So here's a look at one of our computer models. It's a short-term computer model, and it shows how things are going to change over time. And as we go into the evening hours, let's take it to about 6 o'clock. Notice that we have rain really starting to increase across parts of South Arkansas, but temperatures will be in the mid to upper 30s, so mostly rain. But across central Arkansas, some of those snow showers moving in with temperatures near the freezing mark. So we may see a period of some light snow, maybe a very light snow sleet mix, enough to maybe coat the ground in some spots, especially those elevated surfaces on grassy surfaces, or maybe on top of the mailbox or on your car. You might notice a little bit. And as we go into later on during the evening hours, notice everything starts to fade away pretty quickly. And by the time we get after midnight, there's really not going to be much left. And that's really going to put a very big dent in how much accumulation that we can expect. So this is what it looks like overall as of this afternoon as far as our winter weather potential for South Arkansas. That's where the heaviest precipitation is going to be, but that's also where temperatures will be above freezing. And we're looking at mainly just some light, maybe some moderate rain in a couple of spots. Now for central and northern Arkansas, where temperatures will be near the freezing mark or maybe even a little bit below, we're looking at a bit of a wintry mix, but again, just a few flurries, a little bit of sleet here and there, but overall little to no accumulation. The only exception to that would be parts of west central Arkansas, maybe higher elevations up around Scott County, Yell County, as well as Montgomery and Polk County in western Arkansas. I wouldn't be surprised to see some spots with a few tenths of an inch, possibly even up to half an inch in some of those highest elevations, but even a half an inch for west central Arkansas is a little bit of a stretch based on how much precipitation is actually going to move into the state. And Mitch, really the only thing that makes this any sort of deal at all are those cold temperatures near freezing. So it really wouldn't take a whole lot to get some slick spots on those bridges and overpasses. So we'll have to watch that. But overall, it looks like this is going to be pretty scattered. Some of you may not even really see much in the way of anything at all. Some of you might see a snow come down for a few minutes, or even a little bit of a sleet mixed in. You might hear that little ping, ping, ping against your window. That's what we're looking at for this evening going into tonight. And by about midnight, that's going to be all gone. So really not as far as central Arkansas, this really doesn't look like it's going to be much more than what we saw on Sunday night, which, as pretty as it was for a little while, didn't amount to that much.
So the bottom line here is just be prepared, be in the know, but don't expect any major impacts to travel. It sounds like.
No, this isn't going to be a big travel problem. However, if you are going to be traveling tonight, I would just pay a little bit of extra attention on some of those bridges and overpasses. If you see the road looks wet, it may be icy. But RDOT has been pre-treating for the potential for some of that wintry weather, and it's been dry today, which makes that pre-treatment a little bit more effective. So even where temperatures do get a little bit below freezing and we do get a little precipitation, that pre-treatment that RDOT is putting down is going to help.
So let's go ahead and bring up a couple questions here. And if you're just joining us, the Arkansas Storm Team is monitoring the potential for some winter weather later today. We're already getting reports of some light snow flurries in downtown Little Rock at this hour. And so we have Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin in the Weather Center because Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan is preparing for KRK 4 News at 4. He's going to be updating viewers at the 4 p.m. show here in just a few moments. But let's get to some viewer questions, Jeff, using that hashtag AST. The first question coming in, and this is from Courtney, hashtag AST. So no snow will stick in Little Rock, North Little Rock metro area.
Well, as far as getting snow to stick, you might see a little bit on some of those elevated surfaces. Maybe you might see a little bit on the windshield of your car. You might notice maybe a little bit on the grass here and there, maybe on top of some mulch or on top of some plants. But that would be about it. Really not expecting that we're going to see anything stick on the asphalt. As far as it being enough snow to play in, no, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to be anything like that. So don't get the kids too excited about this one, because I don't think it's going to be something that you'll be able to really have much fun with.
So April is using that hashtag AST. Is there a freezing threat? And I'm assuming she's talking about freezing rain.
I'm sorry, Mitch, I'll need you to repeat that one more time. Didn't quite hear that.
We have another question coming in. This is from April. April's using that hashtag AST. Is there a freezing threat? I'm assuming she's talking about freezing rain here, but she might also be talking about just temperatures in general. So maybe we can address both of those.
As far as a freeze threat, temperatures will drop a little bit back below freezing tonight. Temperatures really not even getting much above freezing this evening. So yeah, there is going to be some freezing out there. So where those roads do get wet and they're untreated, there could be a few slick spots. Again, we're not expecting a whole lot of precipitation, so I don't think that there's really going to be a whole lot of ice out there. But if you do get the precipitation to come down just heavy enough and the road is wet and untreated, there could be a couple of icy spots out there. That's why good idea just to be a little bit extra cautious if traveling later on tonight.
As we're learning right now, some folks are talking about some light snow in the Cabot area right now. Also Jacksonville, we're getting reports of some snow flurries in downtown Little Rock at this hour. You're looking at a live traffic camera going from North Little Rock into Little Rock as we prepare to enter the rush hour traffic, or that rush hour area, and we start to really get a dose of that potential for winter weather. Jeff, somebody's asking about snow in the Clinton area. Tanya's wondering. She says, yes, we want snow in Clinton, please. Hashtag AST.
It doesn't look like there's really going to be all that much in the way of precipitation for north central Arkansas with this. So we're really looking at a couple of flurries. You might see a little bit of a dusting here and there, but as for Clinton, I think what you had on Sunday was probably more than what you're going to see with this system. So I know Clinton, you did have a bit of a changeover to some snow on Sunday evening. I think you'll get a little bit more as far as some snow this evening, but I don't think it's going to be as much as what we saw Sunday, and that really wasn't all that much. And right now, as we take a look at north central Arkansas, including the Clinton area over towards Heber Springs and Mountain View, we're seeing some of those flurries starting to pick up just a little bit. But all that we've seen so far, a couple of small flakes in the air, certainly no accumulation. And overall, with how dry the air is, it's really going to be hard to get that snow going. So you might see snow come down pretty decently for a couple of minutes, and that's probably going to be about it. Otherwise, it's just going to be some of those tiny little flakes, but maybe enough that you see a little bit of a dusting of accumulation.
Jeff, what does the radar look like a little bit more south? Cabot, Jacksonville, seeing some reports. People are now saying BB. We're seeing BB, Cabot with snow flurries right now.
But there has been a little bit of an increase in precipitation across parts of east central Arkansas. We've seen some rain that's been developing over southeast Arkansas, a wave of rain. And as that's moved into east central Arkansas, say around Lonoke County and Prairie County, and even across parts of the Little Rock area, we did have a little bit of some sleet and light snow move through. And some of that is now moving to the Carlisle area into east central Arkansas over towards Brinkley, Hazen. Des Arc, you may be getting a little bit as far as Jacksonville and Cabot. You've seen just a little bit, but not all that much. You can see on the radar just barely picking it up. Some of those very light flurries moving up along 67, 167 from Cabot over towards Beebe, but don't expect that things are really going to increase all that much over the next couple of hours as we have that one band of precipitation move on through. But as we look through west central Arkansas, you really don't see all that much yet until you get into Oklahoma and you see that larger area of snow. But again, that larger area of snow is gradually going to diminish as we go into later on during the evening hours and tonight. And that's why this is not really going to be a big weather maker in terms of winter weather potential.
Jeff, what do you think if people are just joining us, they're just tuning in, they're looking at the radar right now and they say, hey, I'm headed out the door in the next, hour or two, leaving work. What would be your message to those folks?
My message for this evening, I think everything's going to be pretty normal as far as travel conditions for this evening. So, heading out during the evening hours, maybe you're going out to get some dinner, or you're picking up something to eat, or picking kids up. You're not going to run into any travel problems. You might see a little bit of sleet. You might notice, some snowflakes on your windshield, or the pang of a little bit of sleet, but not enough that it's going to cause any travel issues. Now, later on tonight, as those temperatures get a little bit colder, drop back a couple degrees below the freezing mark, in areas that do get a little bit more in the way of some flurries or some light sleet, I'd watch some of those bridges and overpasses, especially some of those secondary roads. As far as tomorrow morning, I think that we'll generally be in good shape. I just don't think there's going to be enough precipitation to cause any significant travel problems. But of course, we'll be monitoring that as we go through this evening and tonight, let you know if anything changes or if there are any troubled spots that develop.
Okay, and we're looking at a traffic camera right now, White River, up there in northern or Searcy area. You can just make up a couple of flurries on the camera there. Jeff, I want to get to one more question if you have time. I'd like to bring in this question. This question's coming from James. James says, #AST, should truck drivers be worried traveling to Oklahoma tonight?
As far as between Little Rock and Oklahoma City has seen some snow, and there is some snow on the road on I-40 going towards Oklahoma City. However, the Arkansas portion of I-40, we're probably not looking at much in the way of any problems because, first of all, you have all the traffic on there, and you combine that with only minimal amounts of precipitation, and the road is, for the most part, I-40 is going to stay dry. The problem on I-40 is going to come in closer to Oklahoma City, where that snow has been studier. There's already been a couple of inches of snow around Oklahoma City. So, once you get, say, west of, say, Silosaw, I'd start to watch out for a little bit of snow accumulation on the roads. But you can see getting into Oklahoma along I-40, things really do start to deteriorate quite a bit. So there may be some travel problems on I-40 on the Oklahoma side, not so much on the Arkansas side.
That is good to know as we closely monitor the potential for winter weather here. Jeff, I think the best piece, and probably important to note here, there are no winter weather watches or advisories for central Arkansas, right?
That is correct. Actually, there are no winter weather advisories anywhere in the state right now. We'll put up the map here and show you latest advisories and warnings, and we do not have any for Arkansas. There are some winter weather advisories for portions of Oklahoma, and actually there is a winter storm warning out for the Oklahoma City area where there's been more in the way of some significant accumulating snow, but with very minimal precipitation amounts. That's why we don't have any winter weather advisories for anywhere in Arkansas. So right now, it looks like the more significant winter weather, the more impactful winter weather is going to stay to our west in Oklahoma during the evening hours.
Jeff, do you think the National Weather Service might issue some kind of winter weather advisory before the night's over, or is that pretty unpredictable?
I believe the only way that that is going to happen is if the precipitation comes in a little bit heavier than what is expected, but none of the guidance is really indicating that we're really going to get much in the way of accumulation. As a matter of fact, some of the computer models, such as the NAM, which you might have heard about the last couple of days, have actually backed off of the accumulation. So, overall, I'm thinking that where we do get an accumulation, it's going to be in the neighborhood of a fraction of an inch. And that's just not going to be enough to cause any sort of meaningful traffic problems. Again, if there are areas that may get a little bit more precipitation, a little bit more snow, temperatures below freezing, I mean, there is the possibility you could wind up with an advisory in a couple of spots. But overall, based on the going forecast, I would not expect that to happen.
All right. Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin in the Weather Center right now. KRK4 News at 4 coming on the air right now, where KRK4 Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan will pick up our live coverage of that potential for winter weather. Go ahead and tune in on the TV side right now as Chief Keith hits the air for more on this tracking potential winter weather here in Arkansas. Snow flurries already being reported. Jeff, thanks for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. We'll be here this evening watching the wintry weather.
All right. KRK4 News at 4 starts right now. Fox 16 News at 5:30 here in just a moment with brand new weather data. Have a good afternoon.